In this bank catfishing video, we're going to cover all the best baits, where to find them, and how to catch more and bigger catfish in every season: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Let's go. Okay, let's start with a description of the flavors and scents that best attract catfish and why. First, you know we love using chicken liver. Chicken liver has a very strong and bloody scent and texture that catfish find irresistible, and that's because its smell mimics the taste of their natural prey. Plain and simple. It flat works and is always going to be our top choice. And it is particularly effective in rivers and lakes that have murky or muddy water, where the catfish will find it regardless because of their extraordinary sense of smell. Another fan favorite is using cut bait, which are just cut up pieces of shad, herring, bluegill, or other bait fish that the catfish may feed on, because the natural oils and fish pieces will create a natural scent trail that disperses very quickly in the water and allows the catfish to find the bait quickly and from up to about 100 yards away. Cut bait is perfect for large rivers and reservoirs too, and large lakes where the bigger catfish live and are accustomed to feeding on fish as a main staple of their diet. And many die-hard catfishermen also rely on stink baits when the others don't seem to be working. Stink baits are commercially prepared especially for the catfish's nostrils, with a potent smell designed to attract them in. They come in a variety of flavors, are usually mixed with cheese, blood, and fish oil, and they come in dough balls, pastes, or dips. These baits are also very effective in still and moving water and will work wonders when you have a larger catfish population there. Cheese-filled hot dogs, probably our favorite bait of all time when fishing ponds and smaller lakes for channel catfish and bullheads. The combination of salt, fat, protein, and cheese make the catfish go crazy, and it usually doesn't take them long to find it and inhale it wherever they are. Lots of folks also dip these in garlic or strawberry or cherry Kool-Aid to make them even more enticing. And on the topic of garlic, not only largemouth bass like the strong scent of garlic, just about any meaty bait that you soak in garlic will catch catfish, and it works particularly well in water with low visibility too. And another favorite of us old-timers is anise oil, which is also used in lots of bass soft plastics. Anise has a black licorice-like scent that is very attractive to catfish too. You can add anise to just about any of the meaty baits we talked about to make them far more versatile. So don't be afraid to mix and match some or all the above until you find what baits and scents the catfish in your local waters are most attracted to. Fresher baits do tend to emit stronger and more lasting scent, so the more you can use fresher ingredients, the more success you're likely going to have. And don't be afraid to chum the area first, if chumming is legal, with pieces of the baits or scents to attract them into the area before you start throwing out your baits. Okay, so where to find catfish in every lake, pond, or river that you fish? Submerged structure, that's where. All catfish love hiding out in fallen trees, hollowed-out logs, brush piles, heavy vegetation, and rock pile formations. They provide cover from predation and make great ambush spots, provide ample forage, along with being more oxygen-rich from the cooler water there. Also, deep holes in rivers and lakes are always going to be prime hideout spots for bigger catfish, and that's because the combination of water depth and cover are always the best bet to target when fishing any lake or pond. And if you're fishing rivers for catfish, they often hide out in undercut banks and outside river bends where the current erodes the shore bank, which makes a nice little hiding spot for them. So how is it that catfish can find food in muddy and dark-stained water with ease without using their eyes? First, they have their own built-in sound amplifier called a Weberian apparatus, which is a series of small bones that connect their swim bladder to their inner ear. And this actually amplifies sound waves under the water. Thus, it makes them able to hear and feel prey moving nearby. And they have thousands of taste buds scattered all over their body in lieu of having scales like most fish, which allows them to detect chemicals in the water and easily locate their food. The highest concentration of these sensory perceptors, if you will, are located in their whiskers and barbels, but they've adapted their bodies to detect food, which is very cool. All right, folks, so you already know bank catfishing is a ton of fun. You just bait up, you get bit, and you reel in your whiskered trophy. However, when it comes to catching more and bigger catfish every time you're out, you have to understand how they behave in each season. So this section, we're going to dive into where to find and catch catfish in spring, summer, fall, and winter. Let's start with fall, since that's where we are now. The water is beginning to cool, and catfish will start preparing for the winter months by beginning to feed even more heavily than they did in the warmer summer months. You will actually start to notice them hanging around in the mid-water depths during the day and eventually moving into the shallows to begin feeding around dusk and all through the nighttime. You still want to look for catfish around structure in the fall, like humps, logs, underwater timber, and along any creek channels. So in the fall, this is a great time to be using very large baits like live bluegill and shad if legal in your area, and large emerald shiner minnows in the 3 to 4 inch range or bigger if you can get them. Larger pieces of fresh cut bait like in the 6 to 8 inch range will also work wonders. And if you're out on a boat, you can drift fish with a 3-way rig or even slowly troll along drop-offs and points that are very productive this time of the year. But let's focus on bank catfishing without needing a boat to catch a real monster. You also want to be paying attention to cold fronts this time of the year. Catfishing just before a cold front rolls through can usually be very productive because the pressure change will trigger more instinctive feeding. Catfish do have lateral lines, just like bass, so they are acutely aware of barometric pressure changes and impending fronts or weather moving through. Okay, next, let's talk about how we're still going to catch catfish in the winter months, just around the corner. Of course, catching catfish in the wintertime can certainly be challenging, but it is certainly not impossible. Catfish, just like most every fish, will slow down significantly as the water temperature begins to drop. They become more lethargic as their metabolism slows down, and they will move into the deepest sections of any lake or river. So just like in the summer and fall months, you have to target deep holes and pockets near dams or in river channels. And you have to make sure that your presentation is a lot slower than in summer or fall. The best baits to use in winter are chicken liver, stink bait, and the cut baits that we talked about, maybe in the 5 to 6 inch range. You have to be patient though, as they're less aggressive and may just nibble the bait instead of inhaling it like in the summer months. So fish slow, get your bait right on the bottom and in the deepest sections of the lake, and try to fish on a calmer day without too much wind or water turbulence, as they might be that much more inactive in bad weather. And before you know it, it'll be spring again, birds chirping, ice thawing, and a few birds starting to fly around. It's time to go catfishing. So as the water and air temperatures begin to rise in early spring, catfish will begin to become a little more active after their slower winter dormant stage. And you absolutely want to target shallower water in spring, which will warm much faster with the sun. Try to find areas where a creek or river feeds or flows into a lake, as this warmer water will have more oxygen content at this time of the year, and you'll certainly attract more catfish there. Catfish are very hungry in spring, so the best baits to catch them are hunks of live night crawlers, chicken liver, and cut bait pieces like we mentioned. You want to fish just off the bottom, so you can use a Santee Cooper rig with a peg float, maybe 4 to 5 inches up from your octopus hook. Cast into shallower water and around any submerged logs, weed beds, or fallen trees. That's where they're going to be. And finally, that leaves summer, prime time for catfishing every species wherever you fish. Nighttime is especially effective for bullheads, blue catfish, and flatheads during the warmer summer months. During the hot summer, sunny days, you're going to find them hiding in the deepest sections of the lake to stay cool and find cooler water with higher oxygen content and underwater structure to hide out and ambush prey. Live bait, bluegill, shad, and herring is always going to be your best bet for the biggest fish in summer, as nothing compares to fresh bait. But again, just make sure it's legal to use live bait where you live. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button before you leave, and don't forget to enable your bell notifications so you never miss another great video coming your way.